punch that shit right in the nose. Pop!
On the sheet of paper, there's a rundown for the show. It's called Oddball. My name, Amin Elhassan. That person over there in New York City, Charlotte Wilder. In Charlotte, we have a fun show today. You know why it's a fun show, Charlotte?
I have a guess, but you tell me.
Because we get to role play. We get to become actors, thespians of the theater. In a segment.
And if you don't know what that means, this is going to be a hint, but we're not going to tell you what that is yet.
Okay, I won't tell them what it is. I will just say that before we get to that, we have headlines to discuss. Draymond Green, 5-game suspension for his actions in that tussle that started the Warriors-Timberwolves game the other night. Klay Thompson, Rudy Gobert, and Jaden McDaniels all fined $25,000. Draymond's the only one who's suspended. 5 games. In a statement, the NBA says the length of the suspension is based in part, on Green's history of unsportsmanlike acts, or as I like to call it, a history of violence. Total salary loss by Draymond will be $770,000 roughly. So Charlotte, he got 5 games. Now, I've seen some people say Ja Morant got 25 games for not hurting anybody and merely exercising his constitutional right to bear arms. Right? Was Draymond Green's suspension too heavy, too light, or just right, Goldilocks?
The honest answer is I don't know. I mean, I think my feeling is that it's correct. I think that this is very different from an off-court issue like Ja Morant's, where he was messing around with guns. There was a lot of stuff going on. It was over a couple of years.
Even though they were itty-bitty guns.
Yeah, size doesn't matter. Size doesn't matter.
It's official.
I think for...
Thank you.
I think for Draymond, in a situation that is a very clear on-court situation, and where he has done this kind of thing over and over and over, and where he just jumped into the fray, he seemed like he couldn't wait to get his arms around Gobert's neck. It feels appropriate. I feel like someone like Ja Morant, who has issues off the court that have been spanning a few years now, and then multiple instances with guns, multiple instances of people saying that he approached them off the court, just stuff that felt like it had to be addressed in a very serious way. I think that for Draymond, who this was an on-court issue, he couldn't wait to jump into the fray. He was already suspended from a game this season for doing stuff like this. And I think that the league was probably like, look, if we don't do something, like if we don't suspend him for 5 games, this guy is just going to keep gaining strength. He's like a superhero whose power is like, hurting guys in extracurricular activity on the court. And so they were probably like, if we don't show him that there is serious consequences, missing 5 games, then what's going to stop him? And that might not even stop him. I don't know. Do you think that this is going to have any effect on what he does when he comes back to the court?
No, absolutely not. He's already told us in so many words that he's better at being Draymond than anybody else is, and don't tell him what to do or how to do it. And, in his defense, like, he's got a track record of success to go along with the track record of a history of violence. Yeah. That's why I think 5 games wasn't enough. And I speak as someone who's an unapologetic Draymond, not supporter, but like admirer of his game. And I think he is the ultimate winner and all of those things. But also, if you tell me that the punishment for going upside the head of someone I really don't like is 5 games,
yeah,
I'll take it. What, here? $790,000? All right, here you go. And then I'm going full speed. That's him as a serial repeat offender being able to do that. And again, this wasn't Rudy Gobert hard foul on Draymond Green, Draymond Green shoved, and then they got in a fight. This was, think about it, Klay Thompson versus Jaden McDaniels, and here comes Draymond Green. He's like, it's my turn. It's my turn. Like, you can't, it's so.
If the mic is Rudy, this is Draymond.
Yeah, right? Like, it is as tangential a cause to escalate violence as you could ever come up with. And he's just
so what do you think he should have been?
I think 10 games. I think 10 games, and then let the Players Association appeal, and then, arbitration, whatever, get it down to whatever it is. But I think you have to send a message that you can't headhunt people. That's the whole reason why the NBA the way it is. I said this yesterday's show. People call NBA soft because nobody fights anymore. They don't not fight because they're afraid to fight. They do not fight because the consequences for fighting have become so draconian that no one wants to lose money like that. But in this case, this is someone who clearly did not give a damn about the consequences. And I don't think, you do something in the moment, what about the consequences? To hell with the consequences. And then you do it, and you're done, and you go home, you're like, crap, man, I'm probably going to get in a lot of trouble, aren't I? And then they say, all right, Draymond, we're very disappointed. And you've got a long history of doing these kind of unsportsmanlike acts. 5 games. And inside, he must be like, that's it? Oh, I got off scot-free.
I could see Draymond, I could see him feeling like 5 games is absurd. I feel like the way that he...
5 games in November? The most meaningless of games?
I know. But for a guy like this whose entire personality is based on doing this, and he's done this for a while, and is this the first time he's been suspended 5 games? Yeah,
this is the longest suspension of his career.
That to him, that probably means more than the actual amount of games. And I guess I just wonder if, given where the Warriors are right now and Steph being out, if there's any part of this with 5 games out where his team will be like, look, man, you can't do this again. Sure, it's 5 games in November. What if it's 5 games in March? What if it's I feel like more than that would have given him the ability to be like, 10 games, 15 games, that's absurd. And then rally people around him. Instead, 5 games is enough that his teammates can be like, don't do this again.
Right.
Just don't keep doing it.
I don't know. I think yes, in terms of, hey man, but you heard what Steve Kerr said after they were all yeah,
I know.
Go ahead and do it. Yeah. And for them, like I said, if you say this is the penalty, juice is totally worth the squeeze. Now, if it's in the playoffs, different story. That's a different story, right? Because there's not a quantity of disposable basketball. Right now, it's all disposable basketball. And I know the league doesn't want to hear that. I know we created this in-season tournament to make it more valuable, and I think it has to some extent. But at the end of the day, it's still fairly disposable. And the reality is, even with the added value of in-season tournament games, the psychic benefit for Draymond Green to go take out someone he does not like and has not liked for a very long time far exceeds whatever the cost is in terms of games missed or whatever. All right, I want to move on here because this is a really bizarre twist, right, to the Kelly Oubre story. Kelly Oubre was in an alleged car accident over the weekend, and he's going to miss a significant amount of time. He's got some broken ribs. And then news stories started to file out about the cops haven't been able to track down any camera evidence of an accident, which is kind of weird because it happened to him in Center City, Philadelphia, which is notoriously filled with cameras everywhere. Businesses and ATMs and traffic cameras and all that. So that is kind of odd. There's no footage of this. But the latest thing is that TMZ leaked footage of Kelly Oubre entering his apartment moments after being hit in the accident. And the footage appears to be from the Ring camera from his apartment. And Charlotte, you are the resident journalist, or you're more journalist than I am at least. What are some of the integrity issues you are encountering here when you think about how this footage was acquired and their decision to even publish it?
Well, I think TMZ this is their whole bread and butter, right? And they also pay people for stuff like this. They shell out lots of money to get this sort of video to get stuff that other journalistic entities would not run because it is not ethically sound. Because this is the Ring camera from someone's home, not just someone's home, a famous NBA player's home, who is in the middle of something that people are starting to get a little confused about. And people are asking Nick Nurse, do you believe him? And Nick Nurse is like, why wouldn't I believe him? And so I guess the questions, and I have absolutely no intel on this. So this is complete.
What we're not talking about Kelly Oubre right now. We're talking about
no.
TMZ
This is
and
the Ring
yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
I have no intel when it comes to the Ring camera. But to me, it's either that somebody with access to it leaked it to TMZ for a reason, or somebody who has access to someone with access to it who should have access to it leaks it to TMZ. Someone with access to it who should not have access to it leaked it to TMZ. And I think what it comes down to in something like this is what is the motive and who benefits from showing Kelly Oubre coming home with his bike appearing hurt. And those are roads that I am not going to go down because that is not what we're doing here. But I think that the actual act of publishing that is sort of mind blowing. I saw it and I was like, I cannot believe this is on the internet.
This is so to me, you say who has a motive to do it? You already answered your question. This is an entity that pays people for stuff. We went through the same conversation a year ago with the Jordan Poole punch. That how did this footage get out? And I had to explain to people like because everyone's like, oh, it's probably the video coordinators. Like the video coordinators are not going to do that. They're not going to do something so easily traceable to them to jeopardize their employment. No video coordinator wants to be a video coordinator for the rest of his life. You do it because you want to move up. I was a video coordinator, and I wanted to be a front office guy, and I became a front office guy. A lot of video coordinators want to be coaches, and they become coaches, like Eric Spoelstra and Mike Brown and a host of others, right? The camera, to me, that looked like a security camera. It was someone who works in the building, who has access to that. But even then, that's hard to trace down or trickle down to a single person because there are a bunch of people who have access. And why would someone do that? Because a security guard is probably going to be a security guard at this job for as long as it is. And they get paid whatever they get paid, and you get offered a bunch of money for this thing. It's a different story. In this case, this is a Ring camera in an apartment. Kelly Oubre is signed on a 1-year minimum deal. I'm guessing he didn't buy an apartment in Philadelphia. This is a rental. So who has access?
Who controls that?
Who has access to that? Exactly. Is it the landlord? Is it Kelly Oubre and other residents in the thing? Is it a mixture? We don't know. But I'm guessing the only incentive that would make someone release something like that is financial compensation for it.
Totally. There are a lot of thousands of dollars tossed around for that one.
I'm TMZ. Without any other information in this story, it's just an invasion of privacy at this point. And that's the part that, to me, I get that TMZ plays fast and loose with these things, but this is on another level. This isn't reporting that Michael Jackson has passed away before anybody else even knew that he was on his deathbed. This isn't releasing footage of a punch we had all heard about but thought we would never see. This is just like, hey, look at this guy's house. Look where he lives. Hey, listen to this conversation with his significant other. And that's just gross, you know?
And hey, think about how many people have access to your life. And what do you, I mean, and I think that what's interesting about it, I mean, is that they did it purely for SEO. They knew people were searching Kelly Oubre. They had a Ring camera footage that they had gotten from some. Also, the devil works hard, but TMZ works harder. Are you kidding me? They've got they got a person in the building to give them that. So I think that it comes down to just an easy, crass grab for clicks because they know that people are searching this, and if they have video, even if that video is of nothing, I mean, it's just like the cycle that we're in, and it's really gross. And everybody, check your Ring cameras, I guess.
All right. Well, before we
check
get
those
out,
permission settings.
Before we get out of here, I just want to throw out this one. The headline is James Harden on the Clippers, quote, "When we figure this out, it's going to be scary." He's still trying to get into, quote, James Harden shape. I keep reiterating, I didn't have a training camp or preseason, so kind of learning on the fly. Also getting myself into James Harden shape. Last night was definitely another step in the right direction and just keep improving. Charlotte, if you had to describe James Harden's shape, what would that be?
Well, I was just going to say that he says it's going to be scary. I think it already is a little scary.
Terrifying.
James Harden shape? Nobody knows what James Harden shape is. I mean, James Harden shape,
it's
I
round.
know you know.
It's round. It's a lot like Zion shape. Hey, you know what, Charlotte? You and I were both SAG certified, I think. So we're allowed to act now. We're allowed to act, and we're going to act in a segment called NBA Life Coach next.
And now, a session with an NBA life coach.
Hi, Draymond.
Hi,
Thank you
Dr.
so
Wilder.
much for taking the time to come to me, a life coach for the NBA. I'm really proud of you for even stepping into this space. I think it's really important to be honest with ourselves and talk about what we're feeling and going through. And I'm just here to help. So why don't we start with how are you feeling after your 5-game suspension for putting Rudy Gobert in a chokehold?
I mean, Dr. Wilder, honestly, I feel like this is all bull. I should be applauded for what I did. I was defending my teammate. My teammates were under attack. Now, being a bad teammate is against the rules. I just don't understand it sometimes. I feel like there's just a separate set of rules for me that the rest of the league and the rest of the world abides by a certain set of rules. And then when it comes to old Draymond, we have a whole different Draymond set of rules. And I'm just kind of tired and I'm sick of it. I don't understand.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Do you think, does any part of you feel like it might have to do with how you yourself have said that you are the only one, the best one at being Draymond? Do you think that there's any part of you that has put that energy out there and that is what people are reacting to? Or do you think this is completely in a vacuum?
I mean, I did say that, but isn't it true? I don't tell you, Dr. Wilder, how to do your job, how to be a better therapist or life coach. I don't. If I did, I would be crazy. I think people need to just worry about their own lives, particularly if their lives aren't as cool as mine. I mean, I think I have a pretty cool life. I have something to do with that. I did that. I made this life for myself and for my family and for my friends and my teammates, and I just don't get enough recognition. I mean, look, there are 4 banners hanging from that Chase Center ceiling. Does anyone say thank you, Draymond? Does anyone say, hey, Draymond, if it weren't for you keeping the law, where would we be? No one ever says that. They always think I'm out of control and I'm ruining everything. I'm not ruining everything, Doc. I'm not.
I completely hear you. I do know something about being suspended from practice. I did have some patients that I got involved in an MLM. But, Draymond, are there any past instances that you regret? Are there anything that people have said, the league had said this was based on past behavior? This wasn't one instance. Is there anything you can think back on where, hey, maybe I crossed a line? And can you see where that could lead to suspension of benefit of the doubt when you are so eager to jump in and defend your teammates?
Well, I crossed the line? I'm drawing a blank here. I mean, nothing as bad as running a pyramid scheme, I'll tell you that much.
Yes, well, I said that to make you feel seen. We don't have to dwell. Do you think that going forward without you for 5 games, your team can be successful?
I mean, no. I'm an important part of the team, and I need to be there for them on both sides of the ball. But at the same time, I kind of feel like even the league knows what I did wasn't that bad. Because, I mean, 5 games in November, to just see that stupid French face gasp for air, totally worth it. Although unfair to me, but also totally worth it. He was all, oh, voulez-vous, oh, non, cercle bleu, qu'est-ce qui se passe, ouais, oh, no, c'est pas vrai. He kept yelling that. I had to ask Jonathan Kuminga later. I said, what does "c'est pas vrai" mean? And he was like, that means this can't be real. It's not right. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's so right. Oh, Doc, you should have seen it. Oh, my God. Oh, I'd give anything to do it again.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today, Draymond. Next week, we're going to examine why you get so much joy from violence. But thank you for coming in. I appreciate you opening your heart to this experience. And I think that we're going to have a lot of success together.
Oh, good afternoon, Anthony. Well, it's nice of you to join us. So, what seems to be the problem?
I don't know. I played like shit tonight. That simple, Doc?
I mean, that's part of life, right? We have good days, we have bad days. And how you navigate the bad days and, not get too high on the good days, that's what brings it all together.
I know. I just feel like, this summer, Braun was like, you're the face of the team. Ugh. And now I have to like be the face of the team. Do you know how hard that is when your hip hurts so much all the time? And everyone's out there on TV being like, oh, he could have been great, but now we know who he is. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. You know how hard it is to do this? This is such a hard job. And my hip hurts, but I still played great on Tuesday, but nobody's talking about that. So then I have to go there in front of the media and be like, oh, it's my fault because I'm the face of the Lakers, even though everybody knows it's LeBron. It's LeBron. Is this a daddy issue? I don't know, Doc. You tell me.
Well, tell me more about this LeBron, is it?
Yeah.
Give me a little bit more kind of background on this character, who he is to you and your relationship with him.
Everybody always wants to talk to me about LeBron. And now my life coach wants to talk to me about LeBron. Well, LeBron's great, okay? LeBron's amazing. He's in his 21st season. I'm not. I get it. I'm younger. And yet when I'm out there, I had 9 points. I had 9 points on Wednesday. And then LeBron comes in and all of a sudden he closes the gap and everyone's like, oh, okay, so see, it is LeBron's team. LeBron. That's all I ever hear. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? It's not like I'm trying to be bad. It's not like I'm trying to be hurt. It's not like I want my hip to be an issue. Everybody's got it all twisted.
You mentioned about not wanting to be hurt. Now, are you talking in a physical sense or are you talking in an emotional sense?
Nobody's ever asked me that before. I think both.
It's okay.
I think both. I think I'm really sad, Doc. I think it's really hard to be the face of a franchise when somebody else is the face of the franchise. So it's sort of like I'm wearing a mask every night, but I'm not because it's my own face, but it's like somebody else's face. You know what I mean?
Have you had a conversation with LeBron about your feelings?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that makes it hard is I can't even not like him. Like, he's so nice to me and he's so supportive and he's such a good teammate and he's such a great leader and he sees the court better than everybody else. And he's the one who went out there and was like, no, it's Anthony. And I was like, I really appreciate that. Like that really meant a lot to me. And I just feel like I'm not living up. Sorry.
Take your time.
Not living up to the expectations and it's like really hard. And I'm just treating it I'm just trying to go day by day, but like that's what everybody says at a press conference.
What about your other coworkers? Have you had any conversation with them about perhaps seeing you in that different light as opposed to the same old disappointment that they got used to in the past?
Disappointment?
I'm sorry if
it's a word I've been running from my whole career, Doc. Yeah, I don't know. Well, now that Gabe's here, I'm like, what were you, an undrafted free agent? Pfft, do you win a national championship? Cool. Like, I've still got it. I still know that I'm better than these guys. I still know that I can be the best. And then Austin Reeves, I'm sorry. We're still trying to make that happen. Like,
yeah, I think you suffer, Anthony, from an external locus of control. You are blaming many of your life difficulties on external sources, whether it is this Braun, this Austin, this Gabe. But it's not Braun, Austin, and Gabe. It's you. It's internal. You have to see what's inside you and conquer that, confront that in order to get to the other side.
I do have an MRI scheduled soon, so I guess we'll see what's inside then.
Let me know how that goes. We are out of time, unfortunately. See
I gotta
Denise
go.
on the way out and, schedule the next one.
Grease my unibrow.
The time of my life and be all to you.
Never felt this way before.